High-Growth Handbook by Elad Gil. Building and scaling a high-growth company requires precision, strategy, and adaptability. In High-Growth Handbook, Elad Gil delivers an actionable guide for founders, executives, and operators navigating the complexities of rapid expansion. His experience as an investor, entrepreneur, and former leader at Google and Twitter underscores every insight, creating a pragmatic and direct approach to challenges such as hiring executives, structuring organizations, raising capital, and managing board dynamics. Unlike many theoretical management texts, this book thrives on practicality, enriched with anecdotes from companies like Airbnb, Stripe, and Square. You will learn not only how to anticipate the growing pains of success, but also how to thrive amid them with clarity, decisiveness, and strategy. This is not a book for passive reflection, but for active implementation. If you aim to lead a high-growth venture, you must be prepared to make bold moves, face uncomfortable truths, and lead with unwavering focus. Every page offers insights meant to be applied, not admired. Lesson 1. Hire exceptional leaders. Scaling companies fail when you settle for mediocrity, especially in leadership. The foundation of any high-growth organization lies in the strength of its leaders. Elad Gil underscores this by examining companies like Twitter, which faced a pivotal moment of instability during its early years. Amid chaos and mounting operational challenges, the company brought in seasoned operators with a track record of driving results in high-pressure environments. This decision was not just a stabilizing force, but a catalyst that enabled Twitter to scale effectively and regain control over its trajectory. Leadership, at its core, is about multiplying impact. When you hire exceptional leaders, you create a ripple effect that resonates throughout your organization. Jim Collins, in Good to Great, encapsulates this principle with the metaphor of getting the right people on the bus. He explains that the first step to building a great company isn't about deciding where to drive the bus, but ensuring the right individuals are on board and the wrong ones are off. Mediocre leaders dilute momentum, while exceptional ones amplify it. Imagine a sports team. The presence of a transformational coach like Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls or the Los Angeles Lakers didn't just win games, it forged dynasties. These leaders didn't simply execute strategy, they inspired teams, maximized talent, and set new standards for performance. You must think with this same level of intent when you make hiring decisions. Gil warns against hiring based solely on perceived fit or immediate needs. Instead, he advocates hiring for trajectory, seeking individuals whose growth mindset and leadership style align with the company's long-term vision. Take Airbnb as an example. During its meteoric rise, its founders hired executives like Belinda Johnson, whose deep legal expertise and strategic insights helped Airbnb navigate complex regulatory environments. Her contributions extended beyond her immediate role, shaping the company's ability to scale sustainably. This is the kind of trajectory-driven leadership you must prioritize. It's not enough for leaders to be competent in their current roles. They must be able to anticipate and navigate the demands of future growth. The cost of hiring the wrong leader is significant. A weak executive not only fails to deliver results, but also creates drag across the organization. Their inability to drive initiatives independently forces you and other leaders to step in, dividing your focus and slowing progress. By contrast, strong leaders act as force multipliers. They bring clarity, inspire confidence, and foster a culture of accountability. They challenge assumptions, make decisive calls, and rally teams around a shared mission. Consider the difference between Apple under the visionary leadership of Steve Jobs and its struggles during his absence. Leadership at the top sets the tone for the company's innovation, culture, and ability to execute. A critical complement to hiring exceptional leaders is empowering them to own their responsibilities fully. Micromanagement stifles creativity and undercuts the very purpose of hiring top talent. Once you bring exceptional leaders into the fold, give them the autonomy to execute their vision while ensuring alignment with the broader strategy. This principle is echoed in Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, which highlights how trust and empowerment are central to high-performing teams. When leaders feel trusted, they perform at their peak and inspire others to do the same. To identify and attract these transformational leaders, you must refine your hiring process. Seek individuals with a demonstrated history of taking initiative, solving complex problems, and delivering results under pressure. Use reference checks to uncover the nuances of their leadership style and their ability to thrive in high-growth environments. Beyond their resume, assess their values and their alignment with your company's culture. High-growth organizations demand resilience, adaptability, and relentless focus. The leaders you hire must embody these traits and bring them to every challenge they face. Your ultimate takeaway is this: never compromise on leadership talent. Every hire at the executive level is a critical decision that shapes your company's future. Treat it with the gravity it deserves. Be willing to invest the time, resources, and effort to find exceptional leaders who share your vision and are capable of driving your organization forward. Once they're on board, empower them, support them, and challenge them to do their best work. Mediocrity is a luxury you cannot afford, and exceptional leadership is the fuel that powers high-growth companies to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Lesson 2. Build for scale. The systems and processes that get you from 0 to 1 will inevitably fail as you approach 100. Growth demands reinvention, and failing to anticipate this will cause your organization to collapse under its own success. Elad Gil highlights Airbnb as a powerful example of a company that effectively navigated this challenge. During its rapid expansion, Airbnb restructured its organization to meet the increasing demands of a global customer base. Rather than sticking with its initial scrappy operational methods, the company adopted data-driven decision-making, scaled its engineering teams, and integrated new systems to ensure consistency across markets, all while preserving the essence of its community-driven culture. This foresight allowed Airbnb to avoid the fragmentation that often cripples scaling companies, setting a standard for adaptability. Contrast this with Kodak, whose downfall is a cautionary tale of failing to scale effectively. Kodak invented digital photography but clung to its film business, unwilling to overhaul its systems and embrace the future. As competitors adopted digital-first strategies, Kodak's inability to adapt its processes and mindset left it obsolete. The lesson is stark. Scaling requires letting go of what worked yesterday and embracing what will work tomorrow. You must constantly evaluate whether your systems, tools, and teams are equipped to handle the demands of rapid growth, and when they aren't, you must have the courage to change them. Scaling is not just about technology or infrastructure. It's about building scalable human and operational systems. Gil emphasizes the importance of identifying bottlenecks before they appear. Bottlenecks are not always obvious. They often lurk in outdated communication methods, misaligned teams, or rigid hierarchies. For example, Google faced communication bottlenecks as it grew, leading to the implementation of project management frameworks like objectives and key results to align goals across its expanding workforce. This level of organizational foresight helped Google maintain focus and agility even as it became a global juggernaut. To prepare for scale, you must adopt a mindset that always thinks 10 times ahead, not just to the next milestone. Gil advises that you engineer systems with redundancy, adaptability, and growth in mind. Take Amazon as an example. Its obsession with scalability is evident in everything from its logistics network to its cloud computing infrastructure. Amazon didn't build systems to handle just its immediate e-commerce needs. It built systems so robust that they became standalone businesses, such as Amazon Web Services. This kind of strategic foresight is what separates companies that thrive in scale from those that crumble under pressure. Another critical element of scaling is culture. Airbnb's success wasn't just a matter of technical or operational scaling. It also ensured that its core values remained intact as the company grew. Without deliberate efforts, culture can dilute and fragment during periods of rapid expansion. Reed Hastings' No Rules Rules, which explores Netflix's scaling journey, underscores the importance of building a culture of freedom and responsibility. By empowering teams to make decisions aligned with core values, Netflix avoided bureaucracy while scaling to a global powerhouse. You must actively define, reinforce, and protect your culture as you grow. It's not enough to have systems and tools in place. Your team must also remain aligned in purpose and principles. Scaling also requires constant vigilance against complacency. What worked last year will likely not work next year. High-growth companies must be comfortable with continual disruption. Embrace this as a necessity, not a setback. Even in moments of success, question whether your processes are future-proof. Adopt a mindset of constructive paranoia, as advocated by Andy Grove in Only the Paranoid Survive. Success is fleeting unless you treat it as a foundation for reinvention. Always be thinking about what comes next and what could break under new pressures. Your takeaway is simple but critical. Build for scale, or your growth will outpace your ability to manage it. Design systems, teams, and processes with an eye toward the future, not just the present. Anticipate bottlenecks before they emerge, and never hesitate to overhaul systems that no longer serve your goals. Stay 10 steps ahead of growth, and ensure that your culture, tools, and people are aligned to support the vision. If you fail to build for scale, you're not building for success. You're building for failure. Lesson 3. Manage board relationships. Your board of directors can either accelerate your company's growth or become a significant obstacle, and the outcome depends entirely on how you manage that relationship. Elad Gil stresses that effective board management is a skill every CEO must master to navigate the high-stakes environment of scaling a business. Boards are composed of individuals with diverse agendas, experiences, and perspectives, and while this diversity can bring immense value, it also creates the potential for conflict. Gil highlights Patrick Collison of Stripe as an example of a CEO who leveraged his board as a strategic asset. Collison used board meetings to align on critical decisions while maintaining clear boundaries that kept the board from overstepping its role. This balance ensured that Stripe's leadership remained focused and unified, using the board as a resource rather than a source of friction. In stark contrast, Gil points to the dysfunction at Uber's board during its leadership crisis as a cautionary tale. Clashing egos, misaligned incentives, and public disputes among board members destabilized the company at a pivotal time, distracting leadership and eroding trust. Instead of serving as a guiding force, the Uber board became a battleground, amplifying the chaos rather than mitigating it. This example underscores the stakes. If you fail to manage your board relationships effectively, the consequences can ripple across your company, impacting morale, decision-making, and even public perception. To avoid these pitfalls, you must set the tone with transparency, preparation, and discipline. Begin by establishing clear expectations. As a CEO, you must lead your board meetings with the same rigor and focus that you apply to managing your executive team. Create structured agendas that prioritize key issues and align discussions with your company's strategic goals. A disorganized or unfocused meeting signals a lack of control and invites unnecessary interference. Instead, use data and outcomes to drive discussions, ensuring that board members are equipped with the information they need to contribute effectively without overstepping. Transparency is equally critical. Concealing challenges or glossing over issues will erode trust and lead to micromanagement as board members seek to uncover what you're hiding. Instead, bring problems to the forefront, but pair them with proposed solutions. This approach builds credibility and demonstrates that you are in control, even in the face of challenges. Reed Hastings of Netflix exemplifies this in No Rules Rules, where he describes his practice of openly sharing both successes and setbacks with his board. By fostering a culture of trust and transparency, Hastings ensured that his board operated as a strategic partner, not an adversary. Managing expectations is another cornerstone of effective board relationships. Board members often come with strong opinions shaped by their own experiences, and it's your job to channel that energy constructively. Be clear about the role of the board: to provide guidance, challenge assumptions, and offer strategic support. not to dictate operational decisions. By maintaining this boundary, you ensure that the board complements your leadership rather than undermining it. This dynamic is especially important in high-growth environments where rapid decision-making is essential. Board dynamics are not just about managing meetings, they're also about managing personalities. Just as you invest in understanding and motivating your team, you must also invest in understanding the motivations and perspectives of each board member. What drives them? What concerns do they have? Building individual relationships outside of formal meetings can go a long way in diffusing tension and fostering alignment. Warren Buffett, in his role as chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, is known for his ability to create a cohesive board culture by nurturing relationships and setting a collaborative tone. Finally, never let dysfunction fester. If tensions arise, address them directly and swiftly. Gill emphasizes that unresolved board conflicts can escalate, distracting from your company's mission and destabilizing leadership. Learn from Uber's mistakes. A board in turmoil reflects poorly on the CEO's ability to lead. By contrast, a well-managed board becomes a competitive advantage, providing strategic insight, industry connections, and a sounding board for critical decisions. Your takeaway is simple. Treat your board as a strategic partner, not a gatekeeper, while maintaining control of your company's vision. Lead with transparency, preparation, and clarity. Use board meetings to align on priorities, not to rehash problems. Build trust by communicating openly and addressing challenges head-on. The boardroom should be a place of support and strategy, not conflict or confusion. When you manage your board relationships effectively, you gain a powerful ally in driving your company's growth and success. Lesson 4. Prioritize customer focus. High-growth companies dominate their markets when they obsess over customer needs, crafting every decision around delivering unparalleled value. Elad Gill highlights Stripe as a prime example of this principle in action. From its inception, Stripe listened intently to its core users, developers, ensuring that their payment solutions not only met but exceeded expectations. By embedding themselves in the developer community and iterating rapidly based on feedback, Stripe built a product so intuitive and reliable that it became the default choice for businesses around the world. This relentless focus on the customer allowed Stripe to differentiate itself in a crowded field, securing its place as a leader in the payments industry. This approach is not unique to Stripe. Eric Ries's The Lean Startup emphasizes the critical importance of customer feedback loops. Ries explains how startups that prioritize learning from their users through iterative product development are far more likely to succeed than those that rely on assumptions. This philosophy applies at every stage of growth. Whether you're refining an early minimum viable product or scaling to serve millions of users, your customers hold the key to your success. You must actively seek out their input, analyze their needs, and respond with solutions that address their most pressing problems. The companies that falter are those that lose sight of this connection, distracted by internal agendas or surface-level metrics. One of the most significant advantages of prioritizing customer focus is its ability to reveal insights that drive innovation. Netflix, for example, transformed itself from a DVD rental service into a global streaming giant by paying close attention to evolving customer behavior. By analyzing viewing habits and responding to user preferences, Netflix introduced features like personalized recommendations and created original content that resonated with its audience. This willingness to adapt to customer feedback turned Netflix into a cultural phenomenon and industry leader. Like Netflix, you must treat your customers as your most valuable advisors, guiding your strategy with their evolving needs and preferences. To make customer focus a reality, you need robust systems to capture feedback continuously. This includes both qualitative feedback, such as interviews and surveys, and quantitative data, such as usage analytics and satisfaction scores. Gill emphasizes the importance of embedding these systems into your product development process, ensuring that customer insights drive every iteration. Apple's product design process exemplifies this. While Steve Jobs was famous for his vision, Apple's iterative testing with users helped refine products like the iPhone into industry-defining innovations. The key is to strike a balance between visionary leadership and deep customer understanding. It's also crucial to act on the feedback you gather. Too many companies collect data but fail to translate it into meaningful action. If users highlight friction points in your product or service, address them immediately. For example, Amazon's customer obsession principle drives its constant improvements to delivery speed, product selection, and user experience. Jeff Bezos famously said, "We're not competitor-obsessed, we're customer-obsessed. We start with what the customer needs and we work backwards." This mindset has propelled Amazon to dominate multiple industries. You must adopt the same relentless focus on solving real problems for your customers. Beware of vanity metrics that distract from true customer satisfaction. Metrics like website visits, downloads, or even revenue can provide a false sense of progress if they don't reflect genuine customer value. Instead, prioritize metrics that indicate how well you're solving your customers' problems. NPS, retention rates, and churn rates often provide a clearer picture of whether you're meeting customer needs. Focus on outcomes, not appearances, and let customer success guide your growth strategy. Lastly, remember that customer focus isn't just about reacting to current needs, it's about anticipating future ones. Henry Ford famously remarked, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." Innovation often requires reading between the lines of customer feedback to uncover deeper, unmet needs. This proactive approach allows you to stay ahead of competitors who only react to what's immediately visible. Build a culture within your company that prioritizes curiosity, empathy, and a deep understanding of your users. Your takeaway is simple. Make customers focus on your North Star. Build systems to capture feedback. Act decisively on the insights you gain, and align your team around solving real problems. Refuse to let vanity metrics or internal distractions pull you away from your customers. When you put their needs at the center of your strategy, you not only win their loyalty, you build a company that thrives through every stage of growth. Lesson 5. Raise smart capital. Funding decisions have the power to either propel your company to new heights or cripple its growth. Elad Gil stresses that raising capital is not just about acquiring resources, it's about doing so with precision, clarity, and strategy. Companies like Square serve as a model of how to raise smart capital effectively. Square's leadership recognized that entering new markets and scaling operations required significant investment, but they approached fundraising with discipline. They secured funding on terms that preserved control while aligning with investors who shared their long-term vision. This enabled them to deploy capital strategically, fueling growth without compromising the company's mission or culture. The flip side of this success is the cautionary tale of companies that raise too much capital, too quickly, or on unfavorable terms. Gill highlights examples where founders became distracted by the allure of large funding rounds, losing focus on operational efficiency and long-term goals. Overfunding often leads to unchecked spending, misaligned priorities, and an inflated valuation that becomes difficult to justify in future rounds. Worse still, partnering with the wrong investors, those who prioritize short-term returns or push for aggressive strategies misaligned with your vision, can destabilize your company at critical moments. The lesson is clear. Raising capital is not just about the amount of money secured, but about the quality of the partnership and the discipline with which you manage those funds. Brad Feld's Venture Deals reinforces this principle by providing a deep dive into the motivations and incentives of venture capitalists. Feld emphasizes the importance of understanding not only the financial mechanics of fundraising, but also the interpersonal dynamics. Venture capitalists are not merely financial backers. They are partners who will influence your company's direction, governance, and culture. Before engaging with investors, you must clarify your own priorities, how much capital you need, what you are willing to trade for it, and how it will be deployed to achieve specific outcomes. Without this clarity, you risk being swept into a fundraising process that serves external interests rather than your company's needs. Approaching fundraising with precision means being ruthlessly honest about your requirements and constraints. Start by defining the specific goals you aim to achieve with the capital, whether it's expanding your team, entering new markets, investing in product development, or scaling infrastructure. Gill advises founders to calculate funding needs not just for the next stage, but with a buffer for unforeseen challenges. At the same time, avoid the temptation to raise more than necessary. Overfunding creates pressure to grow at an unsustainable pace and can dilute your equity more than is prudent. Choosing the right investors is as critical as determining how much to raise. Beyond their financial contribution, the best investors provide strategic guidance, industry connections, and operational expertise. Gill recounts how founders like Brian Chesky of Airbnb and Patrick Collison of Stripe cultivated relationships with investors who brought long-term value beyond capital. This alignment fostered trust and collaboration, enabling these companies to navigate complex challenges with their investors as allies, not adversaries. Conversely, partnering with investors whose values or timelines clash with yours can lead to friction, governance issues, and even founder turnover. The history of WeWork provides a stark contrast. Early in its growth, WeWork raised vast sums of capital, largely from a single investor, SoftBank. This created an environment where spending spiraled out of control and governance became compromised. The lack of alignment between leadership and investors ultimately contributed to a catastrophic unraveling. This example underscores the dangers of misaligned capital. It amplifies risk rather than mitigating it. Your ability to raise smart capital hinges on your discipline, foresight, and negotiation skills. Approach every funding round with clarity about your needs, terms, and the strategic fit of potential investors. Be transparent about your goals and ensure that your pitch articulates not only the opportunity, but also the metrics and milestones that demonstrate your ability to execute. Remember that funding is a tool, not an outcome. It should serve your vision, not dictate it. Your takeaway is this: raise capital thoughtfully, with a clear understanding of how it will be used, and align yourself with investors who bring more than just money to the table. Stay disciplined. Prioritize long-term alignment, and maintain control over your company's destiny. Smart capital fuels sustainable growth. Reckless funding derails it. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Lesson 6. Navigate growing pains. Rapid growth is both an opportunity and a challenge, inevitably introducing friction into even the most well-run organizations. Elad Gill highlights Twitter's journey as a vivid example of how ballooning headcount can lead to communication breakdowns and misaligned teams. As Twitter scaled, what once worked for a tight-knit startup began to falter under the weight of exponential growth. Decision-making became slower, silos emerged, and internal coordination suffered. The company faced growing pains that threatened its ability to execute and innovate. These challenges are not unique to Twitter. They are the reality for any high-growth company. Your job as a leader is to address these issues head-on, ensuring that growth amplifies your mission rather than diluting it. John Dewar's measure. What Matters provides a valuable framework for navigating the chaos of rapid growth. Dewar advocates for the use of objectives and key results to align teams and drive focus during times of change. Objectives and key results ensure that everyone in the organization understands not only what needs to be achieved, but also how their work contributes to broader company goals. When implemented effectively, this system fosters alignment and accountability, reducing the risk of teams pulling in different directions. Twitter's challenges could have been mitigated with such a framework, allowing the company to maintain coherence and agility even as it expanded. Culture often bears the brunt of growing pains. As new hires flood into the organization, the values and norms that once defined your company can become diluted. Gill emphasizes the importance of preserving culture during growth, noting that a strong culture serves as a compass for decision-making and a unifying force for teams. Airbnb faced this challenge during its rapid expansion, but proactively worked to articulate and reinforce its cultural principles. By codifying its values and embedding them into hiring, onboarding, and daily operations, Airbnb ensured that its culture remained intact, even as its workforce expanded globally. You must take similar steps, treating culture not as an afterthought but as a strategic asset. Operational inefficiencies are another common symptom of growth. Systems and processes that function well for a small team often collapse under the pressure of scaling. Amazon, for instance, recognized early on that rapid expansion required operational excellence. Jeff Bezos introduced mechanisms like the two-pizza team rule to keep teams small, agile, and focused. This approach minimized bureaucracy and ensured that decision-making remained decentralized. As your organization grows, you must evaluate whether your existing processes are scalable and implement changes where needed. Be ruthless about eliminating inefficiencies and designing systems that can support your next stage of growth. Communication is perhaps the most critical factor in navigating growing pains. As teams multiply, maintaining clear and effective communication becomes exponentially harder. Without deliberate effort, misalignment can snowball, leading to confusion and conflict. Netflix offers a masterclass in communication at scale. Reed Hastings emphasizes transparency, ensuring that employees at all levels have access to the information they need to make decisions. Netflix's context, not control approach empowers teams to act autonomously while staying aligned with the company's overarching goals. You must cultivate a culture of open communication, ensuring that information flows freely and teams are equipped to collaborate effectively. One of the most significant risks during periods of rapid growth is losing sight of the mission. The pressure to meet growth targets can lead to short-term thinking, compromising long-term priorities. Uber's early years illustrate this danger. In its pursuit of aggressive expansion, the company overlooked ethical considerations and operational sustainability, resulting in reputational damage that continues to haunt it. By contrast, companies like Patagonia have scaled while staying true to their mission, demonstrating that growth and values can coexist. Your mission must remain your North Star, guiding decisions and serving as a rallying point for your team. Your takeaway is this: growth is a test of your leadership, and success depends on how effectively you navigate the friction it creates. Address misalignment and inefficiencies swiftly, reinforce your culture, and prioritize communication and transparency. Use frameworks like objectives and key results to maintain focus and ensure that every team is aligned with the company's goals. Never let growth come at the expense of your mission or operational excellence. Lead with clarity and decisiveness, and your team will adapt to growth without losing sight of what makes your company unique. Lesson 7. Scale yourself. Your ability to lead must grow as fast as, if not faster than, your company. Elad drives this point home by emphasizing that the traits and skills that make you an effective leader at one stage of growth may no longer serve you as the company expands. Leadership in a startup's early days is about being hands-on, solving problems directly, and wearing multiple hats. But as your organization scales, the demands on you evolve, and failing to adapt can hinder not only your own effectiveness, but also the trajectory of your company. Scaling your leadership means shifting from being a tactical operator to becoming a strategic visionary. Reed Hastings provides a powerful example of this transformation. In Netflix's early days, Hastings was deeply involved in the details of running the business, overseeing DVD operations and managing day-to-day decisions. But as Netflix transitioned into a global streaming powerhouse, Hastings recognized that his leadership style had to change. He evolved into a strategic leader, focusing on long-term vision, empowering his team to make critical decisions, and fostering a culture of innovation. This shift in leadership allowed Netflix to scale globally without being constrained by a single leader's bandwidth. Hastings didn't just scale Netflix, he scaled himself. This lesson aligns closely with the themes in The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. Horowitz paints a raw and unflinching picture of what it takes to lead during periods of rapid growth and transition. He highlights that leadership isn't just about making decisions, it's about making the right decisions under extreme pressure, often with incomplete information. Scaling yourself means developing the resilience, clarity, and decisiveness needed to lead through ambiguity and change. You cannot afford to remain static while your company evolves. The role you played as a founder must give way to the role you play as a CEO or leader of a growing organization. One of the most critical aspects of scaling yourself is learning to delegate effectively. In the early days, you may feel the need to control every aspect of your business, but this approach becomes a liability as your company grows. Delegation is not about offloading tasks, but about empowering others to take ownership and drive results. Steve Jobs, for instance, was famously meticulous about Apple's products, but he also trusted talented leaders like Tim Cook to execute his vision in areas like operations and supply chain management. This trust allowed Jobs to focus on the areas where his unique strengths could make the greatest impact, such as product design and innovation. Delegation frees you to work on the business rather than in it. Investing in your own development is equally essential. High-growth companies demand leaders who can think expansively, adapt quickly, and inspire teams through uncertainty. This means actively seeking out opportunities to learn and grow, whether through executive education, peer networks, or mentorship. Surrounding yourself with mentors and advisors is particularly valuable. Gill stresses the importance of building a personal advisory board, trusted individuals who can provide guidance, challenge your assumptions, and offer perspective during pivotal moments. Leaders like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos have famously relied on mentors and coaches to refine their leadership skills and navigate complex challenges. Fear of change or ego often prevents leaders from scaling themselves. It's easy to cling to the methods and behaviors that worked in the past, but growth requires letting go of what no longer serves you. Leaders who resist change risk becoming bottlenecks, stifling their company's progress. Conversely, those who embrace change and proactively evolve their leadership style set the stage for sustainable growth. Consider the contrasting paths of Blockbuster and Netflix. Blockbuster's leadership failed to adapt to the streaming revolution, while Netflix's leadership not only embraced the shift, but positioned the company as its pioneer. Scaling yourself means being willing to disrupt your own habits and beliefs to stay ahead of the curve. Your takeaway is this: your company cannot outgrow your leadership. As your organization scales, so must your ability to lead, inspire, and make strategic decisions. Delegate effectively, invest in your development, and surround yourself with people who challenge and support you. Never let ego or fear hold you back from evolving into the leader your company needs. The success of your business depends on your willingness to grow alongside it. Conclusion: high-growth companies demand extraordinary focus, adaptability, and resilience. Every decision, from hiring to fundraising to scaling, shapes your trajectory and determines whether you succeed or stumble. By learning from the successes and failures of other leaders, as documented in the High-Growth Handbook, you gain a roadmap to navigate these challenges with confidence. Books like Good to Great and Measure What Matters Further deepen your understanding of leadership and execution in times of scale. The journey will be relentless, but the rewards of building something truly impactful are unparalleled. Always remember, your ability to lead with clarity and purpose will define your legacy. The end.